And today, this morning, we're speaking on arts and culture. And in a broader view, we'll be looking at the very center that was put up to nurture, to identify, to boost and promote arts and culture in Ghana. I'm talking about what you know as the Arts Center, now the Center for National Culture, Accra, CNC Accra. Now, if you would note, CNC can be found in various regions in the country. In the central region, we have the CNC opposite the University of Cape Coast. In the Ashanti region, is there around OKAITEY, if I'm not wrong, and we have them across the country. In Sunyani as well, it is just behind the Coronation Park. And I, as an art person, have taken peculiar notice of these centers for national culture. And today we'll be looking or throwing the focus on that of Accra, the Arts Center. So we're asking, how well do you know the Center for National Culture, the Arts Center? And to have that discussion, I have a well-known face in the arts and culture sector of the country. He is a poet, a playwright, and an arts activist. He's a very good friend, an old friend of mine, OSWALD OKAITEY. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, Reggie.
Well, I like this calm nature. You're composing yourself in any way. I also want to take us through a piece before we commence with the show. I also have Nia Diankra. He's a PRO for the Center for National Culture here in Accra. Nia, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, Beshi. How are you doing? How's the Arts Center doing? What's the aura around the Arts Center like this morning?
It's great. Like it has always been. To begin, I will say good morning to your viewers.
Right.
And then we'll cut to the chase and move straight to the point.
Yes, we'll cut to the chase straight.
So, talking of the Arts Center and how well the public or your viewers know the Arts Center, I would say the Arts Center, now called the Center for National Culture, started as the Arts Council of Ghana in 1957, when the first president of Ghana, Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, decided to continue what the British or our colonial masters were doing by promoting their culture through the arts. Then we had the Art Council of Gold Coast operating from the same location. So when we had independence, the president of Ghana decided to actually use that same spot to promote, to preserve, and to protect our national identity and culture through the form of arts. All right. So by that fact, we had the name the Arts Council of Ghana. Right. But as time went on, the name moved from Arts Council of Ghana to the Institute of Arts. Fast forward to 1989, early 1990s, Dr. Ben Abdallah, with support by the late former president, Flight Lieutenant George John Rawlings, may his soul rest in peace, enacted the National Commission on Culture, just so that we can have a replicate of the Arts Center in all the regions, because we have diverse cultural backgrounds and then diverse cultural activities. So in as much as we are weaving all these cultural activities into one national fabric, Ben Abdallah in his wisdom thought it wise that why don't we have a National Commission on Culture that will supervise on the various individual cultures of the various regions. So then we established the various regional Centers for National Culture. The Art Center was the office for the Accra region. Okay. So then the name moved from the Institute of Arts to the Center for National Culture. By then, people still had the old name Arts Center or Arts Council, because I meet a couple of people who still refer to the place as the Arts Council, because that is how it started. So the Arts Center is a name that has come to stay, even though we've have changed in names from Arts Council to Institute of Art, and then now the Center for National Culture. It is popularly known as the Arts Center. One, because of the markets that we have. Arts Center is well known for the arts markets that we have. This is a market where you would have an artifact haven. You have sculptures, you have African art piece, you have clothing, textiles, metal work, any form of art at all that you are looking for, you come across at the Accra Arts Market. That is where foreigners and indigenes alike would like to have their arts shopping. So then the arts market took a shine of the main, it took a shine of the entire space. Okay. Even though we have the art market, we have other spaces that do art events. Okay. We have the auditorium, we have the amphitheater, we have galleries and other spaces that contribute to the entire art spectrum. All right. So the market has the shine, but we have other components within the same spectrum that churns out art events. So that is the introduction or background of the Art Center. I believe OSWALD will also come in here whilst I take a little break.
All right. So OSWALD has a very great concern, but before I go to OSWALD, I must say that this is quite a unique space that we have, the Center for National Culture, a unique space that we have that has been dedicated to the promotion of arts. And for me, I am thinking that with all of these resources that we have as a country, we should have seen the, arts and cultural industry in the country thriving even more or even better. Because if principles or institutions were put in place from 1957 up until now, that we should see some great, and that's not to say that there is no improvement in our arts and cultural system. I mean, music is seeing some improvement. It is not the same as it was in the days when we used to play, full acoustics. Yeah. Now we have some development. Yeah. However, Oswald raised several concerns. He asked questions. Are you aware? Are you aware? He keeps asking, are you aware? And he highlights several key points whilst trying to sensitize the public about what we have always thought about the Art Center. Also, what went into this discovery? Why do you want to educate people on some of these keynotes?
No, Reggie, well, I think they spoke quite lengthy as PR, but I want to speak as an artist.
Very well.
Now, when we mention art, a lot of people have had misconception about what the art is. Right. When you move straight to the Art Center, luckily we have people who always think the art is the sculpture, the cloth, and all. And then we move into the politicians' minds, they think it is film, it is music, it is there. So we have idealization of the concept about what art is. But the art itself stems into two main forms: fine arts, performing arts. So you move to the Art Center, you see them worshipping the fine arts.
Okay.
You move to
the sculpture, the physical.
When you talk about fine art, it's got to do the very things you have to perceive, conceive, observe, and then interpret in your mind. Something like painting, sculpture, cloth, and all that. They are the fine arts. Painting. So therefore, then the performing art, of course, the ones we need kind of audience for appreciation. So theater, when you talk about theater, it's broad.
Yes.
We have the screen theater, we have the stage theater, and theater is even broad to the extent that we even have the performances, different performances. You get me? And so it is our time we begin to look at art for what it is. That it is not pockets of concepts, but it's very holistic. And it is the very reason that we have name Art Center. It's the very reason the name Council, Ghana
Arts
Council was formed, and not Ghana Fine Arts or Ghana Sculptures Council or Ghana Metallurgists Council. And so, for me, I think not just this Art Center. You mentioned that there has been improvements in the arts industry. Of course, you even looked at some parts of music.
Exactly.
Not even music.
Exactly.
Because when you talk about, they always say, okay, we want to invest into the music. The music we have there do not even portray us as, do not identify with us as Ghanaians. What happened to the Wooloman type of music, the live band and almost all of that? We do not have them focusing on them. And it is just because the Centers for National Culture are not up and doing. We have to call the spade the spade. People have always given the excuse that when the National Theatre was put up, that is the reason why it affected the Art Center. What happened to the other, apart from Kumasi? Of course, Kumasi, they do not have the theatre, so they want to use it for so many things. But what happened to the other Centers for National Culture? Do they also have National Theatre in there? No. It is just because there hasn't been much investment. There hasn't been really improvement in the art sector. when you want to talk about music, it's because the individuals within the space moved. Now, if you say there has been kind of support of improvement, when you want to talk about the early days, the first regime of the Fourth Republic, when Dr. Abdallah was overseeing the National Commission on Culture and almost all of that, when we had clear support from government for the arts, then we had NAFAC at district level, then we had NAFAC at regional level, then we had NAFAC at the national level. Then when the Centers for National Culture gave grounds, the Solomon Sampers and David Dontos and Nancy Chrome and all of these were there. We don't have it after the first regime of the Fourth Republic.
Definitely.
We do not have support. All the support is given to some part, they say it's just from authority, and then that is it. Holistically, we don't even adhere to the cultural policy. That really made the good greatness, the David Donto, the Jifago Mashi, the Edina Matachi, and all the big names. You know, we have really deserted it. Do you get me? And so sometimes I get sick, you know, the campaign, I get sick when they say we are going to build a new theater, we are going to build this. And the question is, it's just like the concept of having your old clothes. You do not wash because they are dirty and you go and get new ones. I, for one, feel if the Centers for National Culture or Art Center should be taken good care of. We didn't have a lot of artists struggling for us to even think we are going to build new theater for now. The question is, what have we been able to do with the Centers for National Culture? Have we been able to exhaust them before moving to new ones? Even the National Theater, we don't, the little said about them, the better. Do you get me? So the focus is, why do people always, and this is why we have to pick on the management. I know, sorry, Miade. Why should people think that the market is the art center? I have had events there, I have spoken to high-ranked people who do not even know about the Centers for National, this art center. People have always perceived that the art center is the market. But when that market came, long after the art center was in existence. So I would even call it an annex. I would even say it was more of encroachment. And quickly they have to give them a particular duty to do there. But that is not the art center. What is a center? For art. So it should be a place you go and you're able to identify all manner of arts. And that is what the art center, the Center for National Culture proper is. You go there, there is space for gallery, for fine art. So you can have the sculptures and do their painting and exhibit. We have space for dance. That is the open air theater and auditorium. So the performing art is there. There's supposed to be a recording studio. So they say we want to put an ultra-modern studio or whatever. The question is, even National Theater, that is owned by Ghana. The kind of rehearsals that we have at the art center cannot be entertained there.
How is that so?
When you want to see, a lot of people think the place is of no use. So I keep telling the powers that be that if you want to see the usefulness of the art center, go there in the evening. That will begin to hear myriad of drums, about 4 groups rehearsing at a go. Now, Reggie, this is the truth. The politicians have always sacrificed anything art for any other thing. We as artists we have to cry to get our share of the national cake. For the artists, those doing the dance, when was the last time you heard any minister come out to say, we have this fund for dancers or cultural troops? When was the last time you heard any minister come out to say that we have this fund allocated for theater practitioners? When was the last time you heard any politician come out to say that we have this for poets and spoken word and storytelling? What is even the state of our storytelling? Do you get me? So there's nothing virtually being done for about 80% of the artists. And that is where we go to have our rehearsals, to grow ourselves. That's where, next year is 10 years since I started burdening myself there. That is where we find our space. There hasn't been any investment. You go there, logistically, you want to see a whole stage, that kind of stage you have at the art center. I don't know which part of Accra you can find. Not at Goethe Institute, not at Alliance Française, not at Plus 233.
What's that to mean? Is that to mean that it has some, a level of importance or, iconism that cannot be found?
Of course, the standard, acoustically, in terms of the stage breadth, length, what is meant to be.
All the technicalities
what you need
are inculcated in there.
Listen, at the point that some of us started fighting National Theatre, of course, National Theatre is not up and doing. That's the speed. Because you come to National Theatre sometime because it is not the edifice National Theatre we're talking about, but the concept theatre.
Okay.
Because that's what they're supposed to promote. Now, if someone wants to promote, why started this place at Art Center? If you want to brood theater, I cannot just say, give me the auditorium of National Theatre to do my play. When I cannot raise audience to capacity. Do you understand me? Of course, it will be waste of space because theater is not just a performance on the stage, but it comes with audience. So if there is a good theater concept, there will be a kind of alliance between the National Theatre and Center for Art Center for budding theater practitioners, playwrights and all of that to bud themselves at the Art Center. When you're able to fill the auditorium of the Art Center and you want to go more, then you graduate to move to National Theatre.
Right. Well, Oswald, let's pause on your submission from here. You've raised a lot of concerns, and I'm trying to place a finger on a particular one that Niade here can address. So Niade, I'm coming to you. Oswald's concern is that, first off, there is this misconception in the public space, obviously stemming from what the Center for National Culture has become, a market space for all of those fine arts. Meanwhile, you indicated that we have auditoriums, we have galleries, and what have you in there. Why do you think the CNC Accra has been, should I say, limited to fine arts and not looking at the broader scope of arts? Remember I said that if from 1957 we had the Art Council, then the arts and cultural sector in the country should have seen a massive boost. But unfortunately, you talk about the Art Center and it's only about fine arts. And when you think of music and other things, it's far away. They are far detached. Why is it so?
Reggie, I feel the passion Oswald is churning out.
Definitely.
As a performing artist. I think you should have created a level playing field to have a performing artist and a visual artist flanked side by side, so that in as much as he speak for the performing arts, I would have a visual artist also next to me who will also speak.
But certainly that is what is obvious. The visual artists,
or the fine arts.
Yes, I mean the fine arts artists are the ones who hold the emblem of the Art Center. So for them, definitely they would have a lot to say. We have been there.
But even Reggie, I would say, of course, the fine artists should even form a chorus, sing a chorus with
you.
Exactly.
What I'm saying now is, what we know to be the Art Center.
It's not what it is.
It's even owned by individuals.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, Oswald is raising other allegations as well. Let's ask.
He took the wind out of my sail. Should we have the fine artist here, they will also be crying foul. Okay?
I see.
Yes. I mean, the milk is not enough. The national cake is not enough for all of us. I think we are too many for the little crumbles that are left behind.
Well, is it to say that it's not enough? Because enough is very relative. And to whom may have more, there is still room for improvement. However, perhaps the thing to note is that the share of the national cake is not even. Maybe that would be the concern. Not that it's not enough. Because no matter how small, it should be distributed in such a manner that every sector would have their feel, no matter how small.
All right. So before the National Theatre came into existence, we have all productions or performances or activities at the National Theatre at the Art Center. Okay. So then the performing artists were not crying so loud. Like he's doing now, because they had a house or a home that hosted and nurtured them. He made mention of the David Dontos, the Grace Omabos, Mame Dokno, the Sampers, and the likes. Okay, so
mention Madame Grace Norte for me.
Madame Grace Norte to us. Big shout out to Madame Grace Norte, wherever she is. We extending warm pleasantries to her. So, like we are saying, the National Theatre actually took a little shine, great shine, from the Art Center. It took a lot of our people away from us.
The National Theatre.
The National Theatre.
Right.
Leaving the fine artist at the Art Center. Okay, that is how come Oswald will cry foul and say we are giving more attention to the fine artists. The Art Center had developed to become a place for the markets where they sell a lot of fine arts. and activities pertaining to the performing arts had dwindled over the time. I would also add the point that support had not been coming forth regularly from the government.
Right.
This is an agency directly under the National Commission on Culture, which is also under the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture.
Exactly.
Okay, so we need regular support from the government to actually carry out our mandates, to do performances, to make the place relevant. When we don't get that support, Oswald is here, he is crying, he will cry, he will tell you much, okay, of the budget that goes into productions. If we don't get the needed support, our activities will dwindle. For those in the fine arts, the sculptors, the carvers, the weavers, it's more or less like an everyday work or everyday activity for them, and they might not need so much like the performing artists will need to have a production. Okay, because the performing artists will need a bigger studio, an amphitheater, lighting, sounds. They would need an auditorium, okay, to do their performances. The carver will need a little tool, 1 or 2 tools he can procure from the market and start doing his carving and start doing his weaving, and then people will come and watch. But you need thorough planning into performances, into drama, music, okay? You need budgets. You need enough support and funding to do that. And a lot of this support went to the National Theatre and didn't come to the Art Center. Right. That is how come it looks as if they took a lot of the shine, they took a lot of our activities, they took a lot of our names. So then we were grappling with them. They became a competitor to us in terms of we competing with them, we coming up with activities that may look smaller to the productions that they were also doing there. Okay, so to address the main points that you mentioned, that it looks as if you're giving more attention to the visual artists or the fine artists than the performing artists. Oswald mentioned the National Theatre came in to take a chunk of our work, a chunk of our space, and a chunk of our attention and support that we needed to grow.
Well, Oswald, before you come in, Oswald doesn't agree so much. He has some rebuttals to make to that claim. But I mean, I am also into the creative arts industry. I'm a poet, I'm a writer as well, and so I am more concerned about performing arts. Let's put that aside and speak on fine arts. You say that the National Theatre took away the performing arts aspect, but let's speak on fine arts. My reporters have been to the Arts Center recently, well over 3 times, spoken to some of the artists. And if I would recall the Arts Center that I knew in 1997, when I visited the place the first time, and looking at what it has become now, for fine art alone, the population of fine artists has dwindled at the Arts Center. Like you said, they would also cry foul. What has also taken fine arts from the Arts Center?
I would hit the nail right on the head and say management or leadership. Okay. Okay.
Which you are part of.
Which
you are PRO.
Yeah, I am. I would say I am part of.
Or perhaps leadership. Top management.
Top management, I would say. Top management and leadership. Okay, because I only joined management not so long ago. Okay. Yes, so I would say management in the past, yes, had contributed to this dwindling of activities with regards to the arts. Right. We used to have the National Gallery. We used to host the National Gallery at the Arts Center. I do remember. Where we have collections of renowned artists. Okay, Ablade Glovers and Co. had their works at the Arts Center. We had a national exhibition hall at the Arts Center. It was moved to the Dubois Center. One may ask why. This is a question I may not be in the position to answer. Right. But why would you move the National Gallery from the Arts Center to the Dubois Center? What will necessitate that movement? What agenda or idea, foresight or vision do you have for the National Arts Center, to be precise? Why would you tie our hands in the back and say you are taking our main mandate or one thing that keeps us relevant, the national collection, away from us to the Dubois Center. The Dubois Center was established for a particular purpose. They have their mandate. The National Center for National Culture was also established for a particular purpose. And if you have a national gallery that hosts or houses national collections for renowned artists, the Center for National Culture or the Art Center is the best place to house it. Right. If you think the Center for National Culture needs some elevation, some renovation, rehabilitation, to match with the contemporary art centers around the world,
yes,
you need to develop the place. You need to rehabilitate the place. You don't need to go and build a new edifice. Okay, you already have a good edifice. You need to rehabilitate the edifice and uplift it to a contemporary standard. Building a new one will just be like what you have just done. You will build it and then neglect it in future.
So just like Oswald's concept,
exactly.
You have a cloth, and once it becomes dirty, you fold it and put it in the same wardrobe, and then you buy a new one and then put it in the same wardrobe again. What are you doing to yourself? Well, Oswald, you have a lot of concerns. I mean, you wanted to make some rebuttals.
You know, I feel those truly in charge of our arts are foreigners.
Oh, wow.
Foreigners to the arts.
Of course.
Okay, foreigners to the arts.
Right. Because if you want to see where we have true and proper arts, you have to go to Alliance Française, or you go to Goethe Institute.
Aren't these foreign institutions as well?
Plus 233. That's why I mentioned that our arts, those really in charge of these primary arts, the custodians, those who are keeping it going, are foreign institutions.
Why? Is it because they have some know-how that
for me, I beg to differ with Wally is not an artist, so well, you have to some extent you may have to pardon him.
Does that mean he's a foreigner to the arts?
No, not foreigner. Of course, if he's an administrator in a way, because the PR talks about art and all of that. Okay. And so there are two sides. We have the player and then we have the coach. There are two different things.
So I'm an arts administrator.
Yes, of course.
Not necessarily a practicing artist.
Yes,
right.
Sometimes we tend to have coaches who never played football who are better than
they have the technical know-how.
Right. So this is what I want to say. Listen, we need a lot of more space. It's like we don't need a big edifice, and National Theatre always say we don't have money to run the air condition and almost all of that. Theatre, part of theatre was taken away from Art Center, not holistically.
Okay.
That's why I mentioned.
So you agree that there was a bit of that was taken away?
A bit of, because that is National Theatre of Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah. And listen, it is national.
Yes.
Not regional.
Not regional.
So if the national chunk was taken, what happened to the regional?
Right.
So we should be having, that's why we have a lot of affiliates. And I think it was kind of a good thing. Of course, that's why I mentioned if there was a good concept of our theater. If we had more of the Abdallahs in the system. There would be a time we would have to be coming to get people from the regional centers into the National Drama Company, into the National Dance Company, into the National Symphony and all of that. But there again, of course, it's just like having the senior teams and then we have the juvenile team and then they get their teams there. But what happened to the ships and the canoes? That is a ship. National Theatre is a ship. The ship that is sinking.
Well, you are saying that figuratively and also...
Of course, metaphorically, the design.
Exactly.
A ship that is sinking.
Right.
We can't take away any doubt about that. And then the canoes that is supposed to get the people is also broken. Okay? So there's no excuse to say that National Theatre took a chunk of. We have a more chunk than National Theatre had. A lot of people fought Abdallah because they say Abdallah was getting a baby groomer to that place and all of that. But just for people to understand that we have a lot of space, a lot of people. The ring is huge. And we need more people in. That's why I mentioned that if you go to the art center in the evening, you see a whole lot of rehearsals. There were times when we started, we had to break the open air theater into 4. A group rehearsing there, here, there, and almost all of that. Do you understand? So, well, Art Center, if Art Center decides to say that National Theatre took a chunk and that is the reason, please, I beg to differ. They have to re-strategize and then have a reflection upon whatever they are thinking and plan, because we have a lot. It will be very nice by now to have the regional drama companies, regional dance companies, if they are able to...
Before you continue, do we have any of those, apart from the National Symphony Orchestra? And I doubt that is also state-owned, the National Symphony Orchestra, unless I'm wrong. It's state-owned.
Yes.
Do we have the national, as you put it, dancers?
We have National Ghana Dance Ensemble. Of course, of all the arts departments, I salute Ghana as a symbol.
I see.
No, you see them all over.
Okay.
Of course, I can say that they even fetch the milk for the National Theatre of Ghana. You get me? But I'm saying that if we had more minds like Dr. Ben Abdallah, this man has not been celebrated enough. If we have the likes of Ben Abdallah, by now we should be having regional drama companies, we should be having regional symphonies, we should have regional dancing companies across the country. And by that, we have government employment for these departments. But it's just because people say, okay, and then we had them and they have been taken away, and so that is. But it is by no mistake that we have the name regional and then national.
Yes.
Do you get me? So for that place, I beg to differ. And like you mentioned that maybe the sculpture or the painter need the brush and all of that. And that is what the centers are supposed to provide. We are not supposed to provide lighting. We are not supposed to provide sound. So when it comes there and there's a good policy, good art policy, as we used to have in the times of Dr. Ben Abdallah and Issy Sutherland, all we need to do is we also bring that little thing. Once, there is a levy that affiliate group of the art center pay maximum about 300 Ghana cedis to do production. But what it means is that if I pay the 300 cedis, I should have the ambience to do the production.
Right.
Do you understand me? So the fact that I come in then after paying my affiliated fee and still will have to do investment is enough evidence that the center has failed.
Right.
Do you get me?
Right.
And this is about time. I think what some of us have even decided to do now is, okay, if we decide to, of course, like I mentioned, we have standard theater, standard stage, standard ambience for theater. Okay? And so we should begin to patronize the place. Do you get me? There are people who move there and say, like, wow, I went there with the former Deputy Minister of Finance, whose production I did. They say, also, if it's not for you, I didn't know about this place. And of course, people have that misconception that it is just the market, so we have nothing to do there.
Exactly.
But of course, you have to blame the media as well. The media always want to talk about entertainment. They're always talking about hip life. And they don't even talk about this national or cultural entertainment. Do you understand me? But if we had people who always pay attention, like we used to have when I was growing up, Mr. Moffat of Graphic Showbiz, who was specialized in theater. The only one we have now is maybe George O, who is now with Gwethy and then Graphic Showbiz. We do not have a lot of journalists going after all these places. But if we have, of course, you go to report on performances that is happening at these centers. And so what is happening at the Center for National Culture? Is it dance? Is it drama? Is it almost all of that? Of course, so this is holistically to be blamed. Everyone has a share. Of course, the artist has a share in that. Of course, most of the artists also always want to go to National Theatre. When we have the Center for National Culture, sometimes appalling, you go to National Theatre, you are not able to fill the auditorium. What prevents you from trying to patronize this place? Because I've always told the artists that we have those places as our homes. The managers will go on retirement. So as an artist,
those of you in the industry, the players,
we need to stand up and speak and promote such centers.
Oswald, how centralized are artists in the country? I'm talking about fine artists, I'm talking about performing artists. How centralized?
Yes, and sometimes it's easier. Sometimes it's easier for the politician to say, "You people are not together, so we can't support you." It's because they have broken down the systems. Because these systems, the Center for National Culture is supposed to house Ghana's Association of Writers, Visual Ghana Association of Visual Artists. And almost all of them. So if this department or the system was well put in place and then funded, financed, of course, you have the center because you'll be able to keep data. Because I know that once I'm a playwright or something, I should belong to some kind of association. For playwright, you are supposed to Ghana Association of Writers. You are there. If you're a theater practitioner, there's an association. And so they will have the data from this level. Because from the regional level, we have the district level of the Centers for National Culture. Do you understand me? And it was then they used to have the NAFAC. NAFAC at the national level was just like Chalwati.
Yes.
But it's been broken down. So we don't have the centralization of the artist. It's a problem because the state has not really put in place system to organize them.
Well, also I asked about the centralization of artists because, in current times, state institutions seem to be failing in several categories, which is why one common way of people fighting for their rights is through demonstrations and picketing. Now, if you're not centralized as a group, how do you even demonstrate your displeasure? How do you picket at the Ministry for Tourism, Arts and Culture? How do you even present a petition? Perhaps at this point, the only thing you can do now is to present a private member's bill to Parliament. I mean, this is what somebody did, and the LGBTQ plus thing has gained waves. How do we even fight if we are not together to demand for one thing? Perhaps, Oswald, you are more concerned about the National Theatre, but somebody is also concerned about royalties. Somebody is concerned about space. The concerns may vary.
Reggie, so like this war of divide to rule. You know, whenever you want to dominate or you want to defeat a group of people, you make sure they are not together.
Right.
So,
certainly. Of
course. So we have to. That's why we have to salute the Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings and Dr. Ben Abdallah and the team. They showed truly that they had interest in the arts.
Right.
And so they put in place system to put the people together. Do you understand? But all those who have come after
have failed.
Have proven that they do not have any interest for the system, for the department. So they never cared about putting in place system, or better put, sustain the system that was put in place to hold the people.
Definitely.
So what they do now is, when we begin, of course, the people who are the bottom of the hierarchy, or those who are suffering, begin to lament, then they get those at the top who are already doing well, and then put chocolate on their mouth for them to say, oh, we don't need this. It is a very reason why some people would think that we need some ultra-modern theater and almost all of that. No, there's a difference between having ultra-modern event space,
yes,
and then having theater. Do you get me? And so, of course, we keep putting ourselves together. But the truth is, the government, after the first regime of the foreign colony, have put knife on the strings that hold us together. Right. The center cannot hold. And
things fall apart. Well, when was the last time, near the Ankram, we had an event, a national event or a regional event for what is left of the National Center for National Culture, talking about those fine artists who are currently there? When was the last time we had any national event for them?
Reggie, we hold series of events at the National Arts Center, both fine arts and performing arts.
Okay.
One event is the Papu Thompson Choral Festival. Okay. This is a competition that the Arts Center organized for workplace institutions to commemorate or celebrate our independence. We bring these institutional choirs to the Arts Center to sing patriotic songs to honor the late Emmanuel Papu Thompson, who was an educationist, a musician, and a great contributor to choral music in this country. So it's an event we hold in the late February and early March to commemorate our independence celebration. We hold a cooking contest for Greater Accra Market Association. This is a regional event we do to promote domestic tourism.
Oswald so much wants to jump on that. I'm not giving him the space now.
No, hold on. we hold regional drama competitions, which we call the Sankofa Senior High School Drama Competition. Right. Oswald is passionate about the performing arts,
yes.
But like I say,
but he has on several occasions hinted that it's a holistic thing.
Exactly. But you see, a lot of the time when we are doing this events or productions, it's holistic. We infuse both the fine arts and the performing arts together.
Okay. Now, because of time, let's. I like the way you made us cut to the chase from the beginning. Because Oswald was even supposed to give us, a brief of him, but he'll do that at closing. Okay. Now, we've seen the failure. We've seen where we stand now. The name of the Arts Center has been changed
over time.
Sorry?
Over time.
Over time. And currently, it's no longer the Arts Center, but the Center for National Culture. We want to recognize it in that manner. what would be the plan, or what is the way forward now that yourself, Oswald, and even myself have realized that the institution has failed? What is the way forward?
I would not admit we had failed in entirety.
Okay.
Yes. I would accept the challenges we are going through and say that once there is life, there is hope. Once the young ones are in now, we are exuberant and have a lot of energy to ensure that the plan Dr. Ben Abdallah had, the concept he had, will be well executed, because it's a brilliant plan, a beautiful plan that needs people with that passion and enthusiasm to execute that plan. And as a matter of fact, if you have a beautiful plan and the execution is not well executed, you have failed.
Exactly.
The plan becomes useless. So you need people with like-minded people like Dr. Abdallah, people who are the passion, people that can execute this plan like he conceived, to roll it out. If you put square pegs in round holes, this is one problem at the art center. Okay, the kakistocracy, the nepotism and favoritism, where we have top management members putting square pegs in round holes. People who are not artists, people who do not have idea of performances, people who cannot put productions together. You put them in charge of, you put them in positions, and they are fumbling right from the word go. How would we be relevant? Of course, we're going to lose our relevance. So the challenges are a lot, myriad of them. But with time, and like we are saying, OSWALD is a private partner. He hosts a lot of events there. With his enthusiasm and passion, we believe together we can we can put the canoes or boats together and set them sailing, like he keeps saying. So, Reginald, all is not lost yet. All is not lost. Currently, the government is looking at getting us a new place, or shifting us from our current place to a new location.
What would that
at Kalkudi.
No, I think we should have
let him land, because after this I will not come back to him.
Okay, so we are saying, okay, the artists are saying that, look, people know the art center because of the markets. Okay, productions are not going on in terms of performances and activities in both art spectrums are not going on because leadership had failed to some extent. What we need to do is that the current edifice that we have, wherever they are taking us to, does not hold this current edifice or even the standard. Okay, so once we have this, why do we not maintain, rehabilitate it, and put it to good use?
Well, Niade, I think that I am going to have a full time to you, so that we touch on these things, because now I'm even having more questions to ask than even enough space to listen to you.
Exactly.
We will have a set time to look strictly into the art center, what it was, what it is, and what it is to become. We will speak on that. Thank you very much. Now, Oswald, finally, before you go, if you can, in a minute, sum up what you think the art center should be and what your suggestions would be.
First 20 seconds. I want the politicians to understand one thing. It is a fact that about 90% of them, 90 to 95% of them, do not understand the arts. So we have so many promises. If you want to succeed for the creative arts department, what you need to do is to make sure that the Centers for National Culture are right, funded, and people with technical know-how and passion are put in charge of management. If you're able to, it is like it has never been done before. Dr. Ben Abdallah's regime did it. And so we don't have to come up with new concepts. It was through that regime we had the Pana Fest, and then almost all the things, and all the people from all over the world came to Ghana. So please, it is good to have ultramodern and all of that, but please, let's make sure that the Centers for National Culture, art centers to put across the nation, are well furnished with funds and good management. And then I would want, I was not trying to oppose what Ni was saying.
No.
I was just seeing
Your
the pictures.
concerns.
I was seeing the pictures on the TV.
Right.
Because I saw pictures of the art center being shown. I never saw the art center. I only saw the market.
market.
Yeah.
I didn't see the stage. I didn't see the amphitheater. I didn't see the. That's why I had to. I showed that.
Yeah, and on most accounts, if you blame the media on some of these things, I beg to differ, because we have been there with our cameras.
Yes, I
but
know.
we were denied
Access.
to
Well,
those very. That is why those footages you saw are home
Well,
footages.
Reggie, not to blame you, but like that is not just.
Well, it's a broader
even
concept.
Bigger,
When you
let me
blame
tell you,
the-
the bigger media stations will come and
All right.
just show that.
All right. Isaac, I beg you. Isaac is badging me in my ear. He says time is up. Oswald, this conversation, we are going to segment it properly.
Yeah.
Have those in the performing arts, have those in the fine arts, separate times, and then also have management of the Center for National Culture. And I'm throwing this invitation to management of the Center for National Culture. When we come there with our cameras, please do not sack us. Please give us the audience. Let's have a conversation and let's assure the artists like OSWALD and those in the fine arts as well of the promises, of the hope that we have for them, so that we grow as a country. Oswald, take us through a brief one.
So we
that
go.
we wrap up.
Pete,
Seniwa dedede,
Seniwa.
pete.
Seniwa dedede, seniwa.
Umami furewo.
Seniwa dedede, seniwa.
Seniwa dedede, seniwa
dedede, seniwa dedede, seniwa.
And when the sun at last had fallen after several span, and the moon had woken up from sleep and sat beautifully in the clouds of the skies, and the sparkles of the stars from afar beamed to the clouds their light amidst the glow of the moon in the night, then the sweet songs of the Mugu swept away the worries of the day. Umami furewo, seniwa dedede, seniwa. The men and women and the fruit of the aspirants and over gathered in the village square to sing songs. They sang the songs they sang for long, from moonshine through the dawn till a new day was born. But that was then. Then when the African tongue married African song, then Wekete, Ubeneshi, Malugu, Adowa, and not Azonto reigned. Then when the fall of the mighty king silenced the night, and mortals never walked deep into the scorch of the night for the fear of divorcing their souls and dust, then which now creeps and crawls into the arms of extinction. Then when we all gathered in the village square, and the mighty orator chanted, Pipina!
Nana.
Pipina!
Nana.
They say history should be told with treachery and misery. But I say history should be told as it were once upon a time. And here my story ended. Umami furewo,
Seniwa dedede, seniwa. And here my story also comes to a sum, because I have had a very great conversation with Niade Ankra, who's a PRO for the Center for National Culture, Accra, and OSWALD OKAITEY, who is a poet, playwright, and arts activist, who will continue to advocate for the arts industry in Ghana. My name is Reginald Addy, and today's my birthday. When you say a prayer, say one for me. And many thanks to you for having stayed with us from Monday up until now. Enjoy your weekend and stay out of trouble. I'll see you on Monday with much love. Have a lovely day.
Happy birthday, Reginald.
Charlie, thanks so much. Thanks so much, Charlie.